Hello all you amazing people of the interwebs, welcome to Ctrl-Alt-Bob. As always, I am Bob, and today we're building the Lian Li Pika PC. That's right, I've got a whole bunch of Lian Li parts. I've got the Lian Li 011 dynamic mini case that hopefully it all fits into. We've got a bunch of Lian Li fans. We've got the Lian Li CPU fan. We are going to be using the Asus Prime Z690 PD4 motherboard. I didn't need anything fancy for the motherboard, so there it is. We are going to be doing a case mod. I have this guy right here, which is a 14-inch, technically a touch panel display tablet thingy. So we're gonna do a case mod and throw this in there. We've got RGB cables to go in from Lian Li. We are going to be using the Trident sRGB RAM. I've got two DIMMs, 32 gigs each DIMM, so we're gonna have 64 gigs of DDR4 4000 RAM. For hard drives, we've got two Samsung 980 Pros. We've got a 500 gigabyte boot drive and a 1 terabyte that I'm gonna use for processing. I'm also going to grab from my other computer another 2 terabyte that I'm going to use for my video editing. And then on top of all of that, we have this bad boy right here. This is the Western Digital Elements external drive. It is a 14 terabyte hard drive that I'm going to use to back up all of my videos. Amazing. What's going to power all this? Well, it's right here. This is the Intel i9 12900K. She's pretty. I'll show you that close up. So this is the 12th gen Adder Lake, I believe it is. And that's what we're going to be putting in here, along with the GeForce RTX 3090 24 gigabyte tough gaming card. And then this little box here, this is part of what makes it a Pika PC. This is a whole bunch of fun and lovely accessories from V1 Tech. You'll see what I mean. So, with everything explained out of the way, I want to start unboxing. Yeah? So this is the vessel for our madness. This is the Lian Li 011 dynamic mini case. And the only downside to this whole build that I've found is the form factor of the case. Because the power supply actually goes right here. That's not enough space for a standard power supply. So I had to find me an SFX form factor power supply, and the biggest one I could find, the absolute highest wattage, and I found it on Amazon, is the V850 Cooler Master. So 850 watts with a GeForce RTX 3090. I am barely meeting requirements. Plus all the RGB we're gonna throw at this thing, plus all the hard drives we're gonna have in this thing. I'm a little concerned that the 850 might not be able to handle it, but we're gonna find out. So I'm not gonna go into a full case review here. There's already tons of those on the internet. If you wanna know more about the case, go check them out. So to remove the panels, because it's got tempered glass panels on both the side and the front. To remove those, you must remove the top piece first, which basically just has 2 thumb screws on the back. They do not come all the way out. Don't try and take them all the way out. This way you don't lose them. You undo that. That also gives you access to the dust shield, magnetic dust shield on the top. Very awesome. And then the panels, the glass panels themselves actually have little nubbies on them that fit into the slots on both the front and side. Just like that. I don't think they could have made that any more awkward. This guy has 2 little notches down here. And there's 2 notches right here. Just like that, chip's installed. That little black plastic piece we took off, always hang on to that. The manufacturer for the motherboard needs it, requires it, if you ever have to warranty. Next, we're going to take a look at the Lian Li GALAHAD AIO 240 RGB version, because I have never installed a Lian Li AIO before. So apparently it comes in all the separate pieces. Okay, so I managed to get it mounted on the back. I've got thermal paste on it. Now I need to figure out what configuration we're doing here very carefully, because thermal paste, you don't want to get it anywhere. So I believe our end setup is going to look something like this, with the cooler up top and that there. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this here. So the Lian Li AIO was actually much easier to install than the Corsair ones that I've done in the past. So now we're going to put the motherboard with the CPU cooler into the case. Before I try and mount the CPU fan cooler, I'm going to screw down the motherboard. So this is currently the back of our computer. You can see the CPU mount over here and our fan that we need to mount right there. Before I mount this, we have to do our first case mod. So this is our high definition IPX panel that we're going to be installing on the front of the case. Yeah, something like that. So to do this, I actually have clear double-sided tape that we're gonna put around the inside of the front of the case, all up in here. So I finally got the front screen installed up here. To do so, I actually had to drill a hole through the bottom of the case here to get the mini HDMI to fit up and through. So right now it's running underneath the case and coming out the back. Next thing we're gonna do is install the fan with the CPU red, and it's going back here. However, we can't even mount it on both sides because this new screen is taking up way too much room. So I'm only gonna be able to mount it on one side. So hopefully it holds up. We're gonna find out. So the radiator is still popping out a bit. So I'm actually going to use some two-way tape on the other side just to secure that to the back. All right, now that we've got that securely mounted in there, there's something on the back I need to take care of. So as you can see back here, we have a spot where the power supply goes. Down here is where you do normally put your hard drives. We do not have any hard drives that are going to go in here. So I'm going to remove all of this just to make extra room for all my wiring. We're also going to have to remove the center board to get it out. This also gives us access to all of our power switch cables, USB cables, so on and so forth, to go with all the buttons along the top. So we might as well hook these up and feed them through while we're in here. So all those cords we fed in from the back are now here, and we can attach them all to our motherboard down here. Check your motherboard manual. They're always different. Next thing we're going to do is install the RAM. So these are the RAM slots here. We have 2 sticks of RAM, or 2 DIMMs of RAM, but we have 4 slots. So where do we put it? Match up the colors. Typically it's as easy as that. A lot of times they'll be numbered as well. So this would say 1, this would say 2, 3, and 4. Now you can put it in all willy-nilly, whichever way you want, but you won't get the best performance out of it. So check your motherboard manual if you're unsure, but for us, we're going slot 1, slot 3. So like I said, we did go with the G.Skill Trident C. This is DDR4 RAM. I did not go for DDR5 because I didn't go for a DDR5 motherboard because I couldn't find any DDR5 RAM. So DDR4 RAM, it is the 4000 Hertz, so it's pretty fast. You can see on the DIMM of RAM that it does have a notch in it, and that notch will actually line up with the notches on the motherboard. It's really hard to see, but up top here, there's actually little locks. So just make sure you undo the lock, put your RAM in, and lock it down. And that is RAM installed. Next, we're going to do the power supply. So our power supply is actually going to sit right here. As I mentioned at the start of the video, because it is limited to its power supply case size, we did have to find an SFX shaped modular power supply. The Cooler Master V850 is the largest power supply I could find. So that's what we're going with. So here we get a mounting bracket and screws. All of our cable options, which is a lot. That's our wee little tiny power supply, 850 watts. It's crazy. And all it is 4 screws in the back. I'll put it in right now and show you. So this one actually has optional six screws, but the power supply only came with 4. I don't think I'm gonna need any extras in it. Power supply is in. I don't want to mount any cables yet because we still have to install the hard drives and the graphics card. That's all it is. This little tiny thing is our super fast 500 gig hard drive. Where is our super fast 500 gig hard drive going? Right here. It says M.2 PCI 4.0. That is for our hard drive. This right here that I'm removing right now is the heatsink, because these things do get very, very toasty. So one thing that really sucks is if you're installing a M.2 hard drive after the fact, and you don't still have your motherboard box and all the accessories, you will not get a screw. Like, nothing else comes in this box except for the little hard drive. No screws, no nothing. So hopefully you've got some screws, and this guy just goes in over here. Slides in like that. So to install this, we actually have little tiny standoffs and screws that came with the motherboard, because we don't want to bend this right back to the motherboard. So we can actually use a standoff so that it's perfectly straight. That way it's also ensuring it makes contact with the heatsink. Make sure you pull the sticker off the back of your heatsink. Just the sticker, not the thermal pad. And that is hard drive installed. Now remember how I said I'm going to be installing 2 other hard drives? They will be going here and here respectively. Before we go any farther, I should run some power cables and get everything plugged in, because once I mount the fans down here and up here, it's going to block a lot of the stuff that I have to plug in. So I think that's the next step. Okay, now that I've got some power cables run, we're going to try to install the fans. We've got a set of 3 going down here, a set of 3 for up here, and space pending, 1 for back here. We will be using the Lian Li SL120 RGB fans. I'm really hoping these are the ones that actually pigtail to one another, because I don't have room for any more RGB or power. So fingers crossed. So it does come with an RGB controller. So as you can see here, it's got a male and a female connector on each fan, and they literally just snap together like that. Amazing. So I just wanted to show you really quickly when I'm installing the bottom fan. This case actually has notches in the bottom feet so that you can put your screws in very easily. Amazing. So this computer is absolute RGB hell. We have RGB here, RGB here, RGB here, RGB here, RGB here, RGB here, RGB here. It's everywhere. Like I said, this thing's gonna light up New York City. But we're not done, because there's still something missing in here. GeForce RTX 3090, but that's not all. No, no, no. So I went and I placed an order with the wonderful people at V1 Tech. And you know what I got? I got the stuff that's gonna make this a Pika PC. I got even more RGB. So there's a little Pikachu token. It goes on the Lian Li CPU. RGB Pikachu GPU sidearm mount. We've got an RGB Pikachu plate cover for the GPU. So now I'm going to attach all of this onto the GPU, and then we can get it in there. Sound good? Awesome. By the way, yes, this is an actual unboxing of a GeForce RTX 3090. I did manage to pick it up from my local Canada computer store. I just happened to come across it one day in there on the shelves. So I did not pay scalper's price for any of this stuff. I've actually been working on getting all the parts for this computer for about 4 or 5 months now. It has not been easy, but here we go. That's kind of cool. It's got a performance mode and a quiet mode dongle. What's it set to? It's set on performance by default, which is where I am going to leave it. So basically, to install the backplate, we get a whole bunch of magnets with our backplate. Ooh. We peel the magnet off from the bunch. We take a little piece of our double-sided 3M, attach it to one side of our magnet, peel the backing off, and with the magnet side down, we want to attach it just like that. We got 2 more to go, And then the plate will just stick to the double-sided tape. So I got all my magnets on there. I don't think I'm supposed to take this off. I could be wrong. I don't know. We'll find out. Line it up. Installed. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Okay, so I'm about to install our second M.2 drive, but if you noticed on the motherboard, there's no heatsink for it. It's going right down here, there's no heatsink. But we got that covered. Because also from V1 Tech, we got a heatsink. And it's Pokemon. And it's RGB. So we're gonna put this guy into here, onto there. I just wanted to show you the installed M.2 heatsink, because once I install the video card, you're never gonna see it again. That's about as far as I'm willing to take it tonight. It is officially past 3:30 in the morning. I have been working on this thing for over 6 hours. I still have all the RGB to connect behind it, which I'm probably going to do at work because yes, I have to work all day tomorrow. So I should probably get some sleep so I'm actually functional at work tomorrow. And then I'm gonna come back when everything's nice and lit up and glowing, and I'll show you the final product. All right, I'll see you there. So it is 7 a.m. I believe this is day 3 of this build. All the wiring is done. The case is back together, and it is finally time for the second most satisfying part of this build. You ready? Oh wait, there's more. Amazing. Okay, let's get this thing fired up so you can see the end result.